this. We seemingly are not quite aware that the correction is specifically by connecting all the parts of the Kli into a single Kli, a single desire, a single inclination. And this is why when we are in an internal direction, what about me, what about our 10, what about our group, then we are concerned about this. But eventually we have to understand that if we're talking about fulfilling the upper desire, then it's by connecting all the people in the world, by them coming together and connecting with Him, and specifically those who seemingly are far away from Him, that following the shattering, they are farther away from the Creator, specifically by bringing them closer, connecting them, and also with Him, with the Creator. This is what brings the Creator contentment. And therefore, if we can assist that, then our work is also considered as great work, and we are considered as successful. Therefore, helping the correction of the world, and this depends on the importance of dissemination and the success of dissemination from us. We cannot allow ourselves to neglect this. And inclination towards this, that eventually the whole world will know about it, and the whole world, by its own forces, will have an inclination towards this. We have to think about this and invest as much power as we can and assist that. According to that, we advance. As it says, that you have no greater work than coming out to the field that the Lord has blessed and collecting all these flaccid organs, the broken parts that are there. The field blessed by the Lord is the general soul, which is broken. To begin with, the Creator broke it, and He gave us the work of uniting all of its parts. This is called the field blessed by the Lord. The Lord, the Creator, blesses this work. And when we connect all of these parts, then accordingly He can be revealed there. And this will be the end of correction and our connection with Him. Do you have this excerpt, Tudi?
Excerpt number 15 from Balat Sulam, letter number 4. You lack nothing but to go out to a field that the Lord has blessed and collect all those flaccid organs that have dropped from your soul and join them into a single body.
Yes. This is actually, as it says, you lack nothing. Besides that, you should lack nothing. This would be your only lack, to go out to all of the broken vessels and help them to reconnect into the system of Adam HaRishon. This is why we have to realize that the more we will think about this, the more we will yearn to that form where we are all connected. Accordingly, we will also correctly detect the direction of life, the direction of our world, the way that it is developing, what is happening with us and with the whole of humanity, in all of the stages that we're going through each and every day. As much as we have this necessity from above to connect with each other and with our accord, more or less, with that inclination towards connection in states that are better or worse, also, and our whole fate, our whole future, everything that is happening to us each and every day actually depends on how much we are in that correct work in the field blessed by the Lord. That only in that, in connecting it, in elevating it to the level of the Creator, we will see our role. Yes, Dudi?
I want to ask, we had a very long period that we dealt a lot with internal work within the tens and within the tens in general, and working on exiting Egypt, a lot of the discernments, and then Amalek, and angering the will to receive. So many sources I can't forget. And now we're exited all this to talk about humanity in this great big circle. What is this passage? Why?
It will always be a sharp transition. Seemingly, it's in the opposite form of one of the one and the other. These two parts. And we also learned that Bala Sulam explains it in a very broad manner in his book Beit Sha'ar HaKavanot, the House of the Gate of Intentions. There he explains that there is work in the internal kelim, vessels, and work with the external vessels. And specifically, in between the internal vessels and the external vessels, we have this region of the klipot, the shells. And the transition between and the other, it's like in the body. You have the body in itself, shoresh, neshama, guf, root, soul, and body. Even biologically, this is how it is. And outside of it, you have levush vehechal, garment and whole. This is how a world is divided. Shoresh, neshama, guf is man's internal body. Root, soul, and body. And outside of the body, you have the levush, the garment. These are his garments, his clothes, and heichal, whole. Everything else that exists, even including the entire universe. And the connection between these kelim it's not simple. It's in an opposite form, because our internal kelim, shoresh, neshama, guf, we correct them to bestow in order to bestow the degree of binah, whereas the external vessels, if you want to connect those, then we have to go through the klipot, the shells. We have to begin to work already with the desires to receive in order to bestow. And there is already greater resistance, and the style of correction is a different one. This is why it's no wonder that people who study the wisdom of Kabbalah regarding the internal things, those that pertain to us, so they understand that this is relevant for us and we have to do it. But when we start talking about the whole world, even with the 10, it's difficult. But somehow we learn that the 10 is a structure that comes to us from Adam HaRishon. This is the structure of the soul, and if I do not reach this structure, then I'm not even correcting my soul. I cannot reach spirituality. Spirituality is only achieved within the 10. However, when we come out of that, let's say from the 10 to all of the 10s, which is called a nation, people, as we learned from Jethro, that he taught Moses how to connect the people, how to divide them and then connect them. So this is still relatively clear somehow. But the correction that we have to perform in the world, that is outside of shoresh, neshama, guf, outside of the person and the 10 and the people, meaning all of those 10s together are 10s together, the correction which is outside of that, we cannot really grasp it. It is something that they have no inclination towards this like us, no inclination towards connection, not even an inclination, but even understanding why, what for. They're completely far from it. As we learn, as we know, many people who come to us and they start studying because they think that by this they can acquire the next world or some supernatural forces or something else. However, bit by bit, they come out of us, they fly out back to where they came from. But even those who stay, they have a difficulty with working with the external vessels. Just realize how difficult it is that until this very day, until Baal HaSulam, from whom and onward, even though it started already with the Ari 500 years ago, however, Baal HaSulam started really actualizing it the last generation. I mean, and even for the Ari, it was difficult, and for Baal HaSulam, it was difficult, and we also accepted with great difficulty, even though so many years went by, and years that were very dense. Very kind of concentrated. And we also accept it with difficulty. What does it mean, the general correction of the world? We can understand regarding my correction or the correction of the 10, the correction of the whole of Bnei Baruch, but above that, outside of it, we already have the external vessels. It's just like shoresh, neshama, guf, root, soul, and body. I understand that this is me, but levush and eichal, garment and whole, this is outside of me. I don't feel that it's mine, that it belongs to me, even though when we correct reality, we do feel afterwards that it's all one, it's one vessel. Therefore, we have no choice, and we have to learn about this as well. And this is why we will go through another lesson or two about the external vessels. This is the place that we have to learn about them now, and then we will come back to it once in a while, whenever we will have the ability to enter them and complete them a bit more each time.
Are internal vessels not enough for correction?
The internal vessels seemingly do not require correction. This is why they are called internal. And if you want to correct them, then you need to add to them something from the external vessels. This is what Baal HaSulam explains, how the Achab is connected to the Galgal Ta'inayim. That only by the Galgal Ta'inayim, which is us, awakening the external vessels, which is all of the nations of the world outside of Bnei Baruch. So we awaken them, and then some part of them joins us sometimes for a short time, and once again they fall. And it is natural for the external vessels that through such ascents and descents, they seemingly go out to further externality, and then further internality, further externality, further internality, and through these incursions, they bring us, these vessels bring us new desires. And by incorporating with them, by joining the Achab to the Galgal Ta'inayim, we can correct them.
The work in the 10 is in internal vessels or external vessels?
The internal vessels.
But you say there's no correction in internal vessels.
If the 10 is corrected, all of its corrections onwards beyond its correction are by adding to it the external vessels. Let's say that we had Galgal Ta'inayim, the internal vessels. Only by connecting the Achab to us, we would be able to add these additional vessels, and then we would be able to rise and correct them.
As we see the internal work in the 10, we bring correction to the whole humanity.
By this, you're adding the whole of humanity into the 10. We also learned this, and it's written about it in the Zohar also. There's a lot written about it that we read already. So these are actually our corrections. This is why when I hear here and there. How come suddenly we're breaking out towards the general correction of the world? We are not correcting the world. We are continuing to correct ourselves. However, for our correction, we have to add the external vessels, because without them, it would end up egoistic. How come we're correcting ourselves and we're thinking about ourselves and concerned about ourselves, but rather we must always be concerned with the external vessels, because specifically by their correction we're giving contentment to the Creator. The more external vessel joins the correction, there is greater contentment to the Creator. It is as it says, watch out for the sons, the children of the poor, because the Torah will come out of them. The children of the poor are those who cannot correct themselves. They have a lack for the light of Chokhmah. And we have the light of Chasadim. So if we will add their vessels to ours, we will be able to correct them with the light of Chokhmah, which is what they want.
Another question, please, that I received. When we're talking about dissemination, we talk first about connection and then dissemination, according to the order?
Yes, but it's not that we just stay with the connection, but also each and every time out of the connection, we have to go out to dissemination. In each and every connection that we have achieved, we also have to do the work externally. Okay? All right.